A man hijacked a plane, collected $200,000 in cash, jumped out mid-flight, and was never seen again. No body, no parachute, no trace. Just a name, D.B. Cooper, that the FBI would spend the next 45 years chasing. This is the only unsolved hijacking in American aviation history. And to this day, nobody knows who he was, where he landed, or whether he even survived. But here's what we do know, and it's wilder than any movie. November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving. A man approaches the Northwest Orient Airlines counter in Portland, Oregon. He pays cash for a one-way ticket to Seattle. He gives his name as Dan Cooper. He's calm, unremarkable, middle-aged, wearing a dark suit and tie, carrying a black briefcase. Nobody notices him. The flight takes off. There are 36 passengers on board. Once they're in the air, the man hands a note to a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. She assumes it's his phone number, apparently this happened a lot, and drops it in her pocket without reading it. He leans over and says quietly, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." She reads it. The note says he has a device in his briefcase. He wants $200,000 in cash, roughly $1.5 million today, 4 parachutes and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. Florence goes to the cockpit, the pilots radio ahead. The FBI scrambles. Here's the thing, Cooper is completely calm the entire time. He orders a bourbon and soda. He pays for it. He even offers to have meals sent out to the crew from the airport while they're refueling. The FBI complies with his demands. They don't really have a choice. The ransom, $200,000 in marked $20 bills, is handed over in a bag. 4 parachutes are loaded on board. Cooper releases the passengers in Seattle. Only the pilots and a few crew members remain. Then he gives new orders. Fly to Mexico City, low and slow, below 10,000 feet with the landing gear down. Somewhere over the dense forests of southwestern Washington. He straps on a parachute. He ties the money bag to his body. He opens the rear staircase of the plane, mid-flight, and jumps into the night. Gone. It's dark, it's raining. The temperature outside the plane is well below freezing. The terrain below is some of the most remote, unforgiving wilderness in the Pacific Northwest. Military planes tail the jet, but nobody sees a parachute. Nobody sees anything. Cooper has simply vanished. Ground teams search for weeks. Nothing. The FBI launches one of the longest and most exhaustive investigations in American history. They call it NORJAK, Northwest Hijacking. Over the next 4 decades, they'll interview more than 1,000 suspects. They'll follow up on more than 800 solid leads. Every single one goes cold. Investigators start to wonder, did he even survive the jump? The conditions that night were brutal. Experts said the jump was borderline suicidal. No helmet, no jumpsuit, loafers on his feet, jumping blind into the dark over thick forest in a storm. Most skydivers wouldn't take that jump with full equipment and daylight. But here's what's strange. Cooper had specifically asked for 4 parachutes. 2 were for training. The other 2 were functional. He knew what he was doing. He had some knowledge of parachuting, and he chose a flight path. He gave specific instructions. He knew the aircraft. This wasn't random. This was planned. For 9 years, nothing. Then, in 1980, a young boy named Brian Ingram is on a family camping trip along the Columbia River, about 40 miles from Portland. He's digging in the sand near the riverbank. His fingers find something, a rotting rubber band bundle of $20 bills. 3 packets of them, badly decayed, but the serial numbers match exactly to the Cooper ransom money. It's the only physical evidence ever recovered, and it raises more questions than it answers. How did the money get there? Did Cooper drop it accidentally? Did the river carry it downstream over years? Was he never near that river at all? The FBI analyzed the erosion patterns, the sediment, the way the bills had degraded. Their conclusion was baffling. The money appeared to have been deposited upstream, not washed down from the jump zone, which made no geographical sense unless something far stranger had happened. To this day, nobody knows how those bills got there. Over the years, hundreds of people have been named as suspects. Family members have come forward claiming their deceased uncle, or father, or brother was Cooper. Amateur investigators have devoted their lives to the case. The FBI had one primary suspect for decades, a man named Richard Floyd McCoy, who pulled off an almost identical hijacking just 5 months later, in 1972. Same method, same aircraft type, similar ransom demand. He was caught, convicted, then escaped from prison and was killed in a shootout with the FBI. But agents who worked both cases said the evidence didn't fully line up. McCoy's physical description was slightly off. Witnesses who'd interacted closely with Cooper said it wasn't him. Other suspects have included a former paratrooper, a Northwest Airlines mechanic, and even a woman, the theory being that Dan Cooper was a disguise altogether. The FBI officially suspended active investigation in 2016 after 45 years, saying they wanted to redirect resources to cases where victims still needed justice. Officially, DB Cooper is still unidentified, still at large, still unpunished. So what do we actually believe happened? Most experts think he didn't survive the jump. The terrain, the weather, the conditions. They say it's almost impossible that a man landed safely out there and walked out of the wilderness with $200,000. But then, no body was ever found. And a small part of the world has always wanted Cooper to have made it. There's something almost mythological about him. The polite, well-dressed stranger who pulled off the perfect crime, disappeared into the clouds, and let the whole world spend half a century wondering. He could be buried in those forests right now. Or he could have walked out of those trees, caught a bus, and lived out a quiet, ordinary life with $200,000 buried in his backyard. Nobody knows. And maybe that's exactly how he planned it. What do you think happened to DB Cooper? Drop it in the comments.
If this case stayed with you, you're not the only one. There are more stories like this, more mysteries that don't quite make sense. So if you want to go deeper, hit subscribe, because some stories don't want to be forgotten.